Youssef Zalal accuses Kalvin Kattar and coach Firas Zahabi of cheating after his win at UFC Fight Night last weekend. We're reacting to it this time on Fighting with Friends. Welcome back to Fighting with Friends, the undisputed African fighting podcast, champion of the world. And speaking of champions, ladies and gentlemen, I have with me today the reigning, defending, undisputed vegan champion of the world and our chief analyst, that is, of course, Brother Gaia.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
What's happening, Brother Gaia? So, like I said, Youssef Zalal accusing coach Firas Zahabi and Kalvin Kattar of cheating after his loss. This was from the Ariel Helwani Show once again. I was thinking it's a slow news week, and then last night I see this Ariel Helwani coming through with the content once again. So we're going to watch a few segments from this, PG, and then we're just going to get your kind of initial reaction, any comments that you have, right?
Okay.
Okay, so let's get into it. We're going to start at 3:14. So this was just basically Youssef talking about the reaction that he kind of got from the social media and the media in general, how boring he was running away and things like that. So I'm going to play it here, and then I'm going to get your reaction, BG.
Oh, he sucks. I'm glad he got kicked out of this or that. He's all high. Now it's like, oh my.
Yeah. Don't mute your camera.
If you're so good, why don't you just stop me from moving? Why don't you just stop the angle? Why don't you just hit me? You know what I mean? It's not that hard. Like, everybody can do it, you know? But that's kind of like the thing. I kind of like felt a little bit. But I'm working the third round. I've done too much into.
Okay, so on what he's saying there, BG,
Yeah.
basically is the reaction that he got from the fans and basically the accusations of running away. What are your thoughts on that in general?
I think he makes a very good counter argument towards it, because I think he does make mention as well of Coach Firas Zahabi being one of the greatest. That's a very key point where he's saying one of the greatest coaches to coach the game. So to being accused of like why running away, I think personally that from Coach Firas Zahabi, I think that is just like what we call banter within game. It's in-game banter. It's just to get into fighters' heads. Really, I don't think he meant anything by it. But the fact that the comeback from Youssef Zalal, I think is very very good because he's not taking shots. It's more of why instead of getting upset at my footwork and getting less touched by your fighter, rather coach your fighter to actually cut me off and stop me from moving and actually land a hit on me. Focus on that rather than focus on trying to get into my head. And I think that's a very, very good comeback from him. I'm starting to become a very good fan of Youssef Zalal just because he's so very authentic and he's just this very chilled out, fun fella. And I think his response to that is very nice, to be honest with you. Because that's something I would say as well to another coach who's trying to come at me about something. I'm like, bro, coach your fighter. He's missing here. Every time he tries to come in, he's missing all his shots. And I'm just dancing around him. So instead of getting into my head, coach him to do something differently so he can actually hit me, make the fight a bit more competitive in that regard. So I think it was a very good comeback, very good response to that as well.
Yeah, and I mean, look, the guy had a game plan and he implemented it. It's
Yeah,
like, what do you want him to do? If he was going to stand in the pocket with Kalvin Kattar, like a lot of
yeah,
the Oaks division, then they're going to come off second best, right? So
literally.
he fought the fight. He needed to fight. Of course, it
Yeah.
wasn't like the most entertaining fight, but
Hmm.
yeah, he did what he needed to do on the day. So yeah, I'm inclined to agree there, PG. But we're
Yeah.
gonna keep it moving, and we're gonna come to him now talking about how Calvin Kate is a big name, just kind of where he stands in the division.
Mm. Mm.
I don't know if it was personal per se, but you were hearing some stuff at the weigh-ins, right? They were saying you were easy work. Did you ever find out who it was that was saying that? Because you said in the post-fight press conference, like, you didn't know who it was his girl, you didn't know who it was his team. Who was saying that to you? Well, so the funny part is, I was the weigh-in, and I did an interview with Vegan, so we couldn't go to the APACs, because they were like fixing the APACs. So they had like the media in the weigh-ins. And I was talking to Vegan, and she was like talking a little bit and saying, and I see some people, they're like hardcore, like this hardcore. I'm like, okay, like, I'm kind of great. I'm like, I'm done. I was like, I'm going to make weight and get out of here. You know what I mean? And then I would face off, you know, Taylor's never said anything. So I
So yeah, we'll stop it there. But yeah, so as you can hear, there's some pre-fight antics were going on. These guys were obviously having words while he was having words with Kalvin Kattar's team leading up to the fight. And yeah, just in terms of where he stands in the division, he was going to go on to make a point that because Kalvin Kattar is more well known, he had more people that were allowed to come to the press event with him than Youssef was allowed. So BG, just in terms of that pre-fight antics, do you think that's game for Kalvin Kattar's team to have done that kind of thing before the fight, or do you think that's unprofessional?
Again, I'll bring it back to what I said in the beginning. It's when you should kind of expect this to happen in any sort of competition level where the opposing side or a fighter or opponent is always going to say something to get into your head, whether it's on the mic or off the mic. It's going to happen at weigh-ins. I mean, some people say, "Oh, but you're kicking the man maybe while he's down because they may be cutting weight and they're not in the best of mind." Whatever the case may be. But I personally feel like you should expect that as a competitor in anything that you're competing at, you should expect the opposing sort of camp to banter you. They're going to say something at you at any point during fight week. You might come across this person because you're in the same hotel, and they're going to say stuff, and you have to expect it. I just like again how Yusuf is a G about this, and he's actually very composed about the antiques, and it didn't sort of discourage or took his mind away about what the goal at hand was at the time, and it showed up in his performance. I want to just go back again to when you said that didn't make for a bit of an exciting fight, and I watched it back, and I must say I'm not in the same camp. I was quite impressed to see the performance because you make mention if anyone stands toe to toe with Kalvin Kattar, you're probably going to lose that boxing match. And I thought that, as in terms of the fight game, going out there and he might not get the knockout, but at the end of the day, he went in there and he made Kalvin Kattar look like a second grade, third grade boxer. To be quite honest, so you have to give props to that and to his coaching team to put that together and not sort of get distracted by the pre-fight antiques.
Yeah, I think also just coming into the fight, he did have 3 finishes on the spin. So I think people were like very hyped on him. And then to see this kind of performance, which, like you said, was extremely clinical, cerebral, everything he needed to be on the night he was. But yeah, I think just the expectation coming into it was that he would kind of finish or go for the finish when it came
Yeah,
to Kalvin
and he
Kattar.
sold it like that to us as well. Like this guy's hardly been stopped. Calvagators have been stopped once in the featherweight division. I'm gonna go out there and stop him. So he kind of sold that to us as the fans of the game, and we wanted to see it happen. But I just
But
think
yeah,
from
that's
eh?
how they do it. You know what I mean? They're always going to
Yes.
say that kind of stuff to sell the fight. So you have to kind of take that with a pinch of salt a little bit, you know?
Exactly, and that's why I wasn't still hyped about that. I was more to sort of pay attention to see what is he gonna do. You've taken on someone that's in the top 10. What are you gonna do against this guy, against this rangy boxer? Let's see what you're about. And I was more wanting to find out his style. Let's see what Zalal is like. And yeah, he impressed me.
Fair play, BG. So you made mention of Firas actually calling him out for running in the fight. So we're going to
Mm.
listen to a little bit of that now.
Before you play that quickly, AD, are we
Yeah.
playing this back through what system? Because it's the audio through the playback is a little soft. Actually, it's quite soft. Oh, it's on full volume.
Yeah.
Okay,
Can
no, but
increase
it's
the
fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, you can increase the volume.
For us, about that fight,
Okay.
he said, "How much running you gonna do?" I'm like, "This is the greatest, one of the greatest MMA coaches in the world, the world." Yeah. To see him frustrated made my day. When does that happen? Like to go in the third round and tell his fighter to be like, "Hey, don't worry about your defense. I want you to go 300 punches and just go."
Mm.
That's not bad. Did he say that to you, huh? Yeah, bro. The UFC posted that video, the real, towards the end, the last thing that he got that leg kick, I mean, the head, the body kick right under, and he's like, "I'm gonna try," and I'm like, "Bro, you're such a high level. You're the guy that talks about getting hit and not to be smart and this and that. But you can't teach your fighter how to cut an angle. You can't teach your fighter how to throw a kick. You can't teach your fighter how to throw a body shot to stop."
Okay, so yeah, quite a bit said there, BG. But yeah, again, like I mean, you've kind of made it clear it's fair game. But I think just want to highlight that we never see Firas rattled like that. That
Yeah.
he feels the need that he needs to make a comment. So I just want to get your thoughts on that. That Firas was actually pushed to this point where he felt the need to introduce a bit of gamesmanship, or he was just
Yeah.
salty at the end, you know.
Yeah,
So what do
very
you think?
true. Very true. Because we've never seen him like this. And I mean, the other fighters he coached in the past were champions like GSP, for example. And we never really seen that side because GSP was always winning. Kalvin Kattar, on the other hand, obviously looking to come back from a couple of losses, wanted to get it in there. I honestly can't see why he would be so rattled by it, other than maybe because Youssef is Moroccan, and then maybe there's some heritage going back to Zahabi's lineage. I don't know. I'm fishing for something here when it comes to that, but or maybe he's just annoyed that his fighter couldn't touch Zalal, and Zalal was just that much better on the night. And actually, Zalal's character, he can annoy people. I mean, look at how he just described us now, saying you are the best coach. Why can't you coach the fighter the basics? I mean, he didn't say it in that word, but I mean, he's kind of throwing shade, but he's not wrong in what he's saying. He's like, yo, like you should be coaching this man the basics to be able to fight someone like myself because Youssef Zalal isn't like the most flashiest. He's just got very good footwork, and he's dialed in when he's fighting because obviously this is his second attempt at the UFC, so he's not gonna want to fuck it up again. So yeah, I just don't know. Maybe the antics goes back a little bit further than what we were seeing on the night, and obviously in the weigh-in show as well, because it's very uncharacteristic from Firas Zahabi to behave in that manner.
Yeah, definitely. Ladies and gentlemen, let us know in the comments if you know anything about that. Is there like more to it than we've been let on here? But okay, we're gonna get to the meat and potatoes of it now, BG. The thing that everyone's kind of been waiting for here, and this is the actual call out, the actual accusations of cheating.
Yeah.
So can I just check the volume and go ahead with that?
Much for the time as always.
Thank you, man. Hey, and a quick message to Brock. Stop putting Vaseline on your people, bro.
Oh yeah.
Stop putting Vaseline on all your athletes, bro. Fight like a fight, bro. You don't need to cheat, bro. You're so good over here. You did. You don't need to cheat, bro. I never thought somebody in my life that got greasy in my life.
Yeah, you said that afterwards. You said the legs, right?
Bro, look at the third round. I hope you guys can put that out there in the highlight. Look at how deep that shot is, and look at how slick he just slid. Nothing. And if we know what we know, he's famous about that with GSP and a lot of guys. So I just want to know that he's such a good coach, he's such a high-level coach. I give you all the respect in the world. But you don't need to cheat, bro. Win fair and square. This is the part of the sport. You can do steroids, you can do all that stuff. It is what it is, but you don't need to cheat on day off. You're so scared of alternate. If you like that, you still my grappling like that. Come on now.
Kevin Hart.
I have to. I'm gonna see you at the end.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Congratulations on that.
All right, so that was the end of it. So yeah, I think some definite shade thrown there, BG. What are your thoughts
Yeah,
here?
of course. I mean, everything he said was more than just shade, bro. He basically threw the sun away. This man was going at Firas Zahabi in every facet there, and maybe he's onto something because he sounds like he's quite annoyed at it. He sounds like maybe he felt something in there. You know what I mean? Or maybe he's just sprinkling some season for some of the what's the word, the clout. But I wouldn't put it past the athletes to get. I mean, they get Vaseline on their face to begin with when they walk into the octagon. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the cornerman just sneaks some Vaseline on the person's lower part of their body, the legs, just to make it a little bit trickier. I mean, I don't know if in the rule book if that's against the rules. You know, that's my only thing about it. If we can get the rule book on that, let us know in the comments if it's against the rules. Because if it is, then I would obviously agree with Zalal on that one. But if you can't find anything that's definitive on that, then yeah, then you gotta do something else. You gotta knock the you gotta do something else. But I don't think it's a good idea. I don't agree on it. Because sweat and Vaseline is going to make the opponent very slippery, and it will make it difficult for grappling to happen. So yeah, man. If that is the case, I personally don't think I don't agree with it. I think they must strike it for sure. And then if it is the case, they can't really go back and go and look at all the other incidents. We'll just move on from it and go, okay, going forward from now, we must check the cornerman and see. Not cornerman, check the cornerman and see if they're carrying any sort of Vaseline or some type of ointment to put on their opponent, put on their fighters in between the rounds. Because yeah, that is a bit of match fixing in my eyes.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. So we'll just watch one more video here. This is regarding the GSP incident, which also is related to Firas Zahabi when he was cornering GSP. The incident mentioned in the Ariel Helwani interview. That was, of course, from the Ariel Helwani Show, and we will link the full content in the
Mhm.
description. So please be sure to check that out. But yeah, just gonna come back, and this was what GSP had to say regarding the cheating allegations. So we'll get your thoughts here, BG, and then we'll just go to some final thoughts regarding the future of Kalvin Kattar and Youssef Zalal.
It was over. We went in court, and like we win, but he keep talking. And you know what? I'm tired. I'm gonna tell you the truth. Yes, I did cheat. I did cheat, everybody. I can't handle the pressure anymore. I'm falling apart. I did cheat, but not in a way that people think. If you look at the fight closely in BJ Penn entry to the octagon, when he's walking to the octagon, you can see how I cheat. I hire a man to kiss BJ Penn on the mouth on his way to the octagon. And at that precise moment, BJ Penn lost all his strength and all his focus, and the fight was mine.
Oh, that's funny.
What are your thoughts there, BG?
Um, if you consider that cheating, then yeah, I don't know. Then you must go look at what the rules are on cheating, because I think it's perfect game management. I think that's brilliant, dude. If you want to strike someone, you must strike the bodyguard team for not recognizing that person coming onto the fighters that quickly.
Yeah,
That's
nine,
that's
nine. Obviously, a bit of comic relief there.
yeah.
But yeah, like I said, BG, you sound like you're quite a fan now of, or you're becoming quite a fan of Yusuf Zalal.
Yeah.
So we didn't have you on the recap show for the UFC Fight Night. So maybe you could just give us your thoughts on what you'd like to see in his future
For which fighter now?
for Yusuf
For
Zalal.
Yusuf. So at the end of the fight, I think he called out either Yair Rodriguez or Brian Ortega, one of the two. He's quite a bit of a jump considering that you're only breaking into the top 10 now. Yes, I know it's on a 4-fight win streak, second attempt at the UFC. I think he's got to just hold that there. I can understand why he wants to call that fight, because it will catapult him into a good status of, fighting some of the higher ranked guys. But I think maybe call out someone like a Josh Emmett, take on some of the big hitters like Josh Emmett first. I think that's a perfect fighter to fight. If you beat him, then by all means go for Yair Rodriguez, or anyone in that top 4, top 5. But I think Josh Emmett, if I'm not mistaken, is ranked number 6. I don't have the rankings open right now. Um, but I remember Josh Emmett would be a fantastic fight. Because all the other guys like Ivloev and them, and they're a bit out of there. Davis and Figueiredo, these guys. No, that's bantamweight. That's bantamweight. Sorry. There we go. Featherweight. Josh Emmett, Leron Murphy would be a fantastic fight against him. I think he beats Giga Chikadze, to be honest with you. I think Leron Murphy would be a really good matchup. I think that's because Leron Murphy is also on a good streak at the moment, and also a very, very competent and beautiful striker to watch. Aljamain Sterling would be a better test for him because of the grappling prowess. Obviously, if you can't handle the grappling prowess of Aljamain Sterling, you might struggle against the guys above him. So I think Leron Murphy, Josh Emmett, Aljamain Sterling would be for me the best thing. I think Brian Ortega on Allen is just a business move, and that's why I say in that name. I don't think they're going to give it to him realistically. I think he's going to get one of those 3 guys I just mentioned over there. But I'm becoming a fan just because I like the style, man. People might find it a bit boring, but I do like the style of, how difficult it is to be in a fight and not get hit. Period. Like that's not easy to do. It's a very difficult thing to be able to do. And he can fight with both stances. He can wrestle. He can attack. And I like his character because he's very humble about where he's at and where he's going. I mean, he speaks about it like almost as if he's not shy and ashamed of the fact that he got cut and now he's back again. So yeah, I'm growing. I'm growing on that. I'm growing on his character in the UFC.
Mm-mm. Nicely done, BG. And then also Kalvin Kattar now 7-7 in the UFC. Is on a 4-fight slide, bro.
Yeah,
This
that's
was a guy who many were looking at as a possible who was going to be around the top 5 for a long
yeah,
time.
yeah.
So what are your thoughts on what's happened here first of all, and
Mm,
what
mm.
in his future?
Good question. To answer the first question, I would say the game caught up to him, and that can be said just based on the last few performances. He hasn't evolved since losing to Max Holloway. Um, we know he's a very good boxer, and he knows he's a very good boxer as well, but he's not evolving with the game. Everyone else is starting to implement different stuff in their game, not just the striking, but they can clinch, they can grapple, they can take the fight into different avenues. And if you look at the champions of all the divisions, all of them have got that. If you look at the contenders as well in all the divisions, all of them have got the ability to take the fight wherever, fight 5 rounds. Kalvin Kattar showcased to me against Zalal that he hasn't progressed. He didn't get any better, just like the Sean Strickland situation. He didn't increase anything more into his game. Like Zalal said, the basics, fundamentals of cutting corners and closing angles on opponents and getting him into sort of into a corner. He wasn't implying any of that. And even if it was trying, Zalal was just very, very that good at moving away from him. So he didn't try and wrestle. He didn't try and make the fight ugly enough. He just wanted to get in and box. And that for me is a person that hasn't evolved. And normally the rule says that after 3 fights on your contact, you're supposed to be cut. Zalal got cut after 3 fights. He lost 2, drew 1. They cut him. So for me, the New England cartel fighters like him, like Kalvin Kattar and Rob Font, were good when the game was prioritized and good striking. But everyone else has prioritized the growth of the sport, and they sort of left behind. And that's why we've seen the two of them struggle to sort of maintain their status in the top 5 of their divisions. So I think that's my take on Kalvin Kattar. I can't even think of a new opponent that he can go up against. Maybe someone that's also coming up like Zalal. Maybe he can get Lerone Murphy next since Lerone's number 10. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
But
Kalvin Kattar's dropped down now to number 14. So I imagine that we'll get an unranked up-and-comer fighting Kalvin Kattar next.
you know, or Dan
Yeah.
Ige, since he also lost. It's just that kind of thing. The thing is that both of them, Dan Ige and Kalvin Kattar, has built up a good status in the UFC, but in my opinion, not good enough to be able to still survive a 4-fight losing streak and be contacted still after that. I'll be like, no, dude. Some fighters get cut for less. So yeah, give him one more fight. Maybe Bryce Mitchell. Maybe Dan Ige. If he loses that fight, he has to probably go find a different organization to fight for.
Fair play, BG. Okay, then finally, we'll just get your final thoughts on the main story of the day. That was, of course, Kalvin Kattar and Youssef Zalal accusing him of cheating. Just to wrap up, BG, what are your final thoughts on today's topic?
Again, I think it's a great accusation from Zalal, because if it is that's against the rules and you're having an opponent, you can put on sort of ointments on your sort of Vaseline on your fighters in between the rounds. I think they should query that and question that, because it does make the fight then tricky afterwards for any sort of wrestling to take place. So I do find that a little bit questionable. So I'm little bit lean towards Zalal on that one. And then in terms of the antics before fights, in between fights from the coaches, I remember Marab got offended to Big Red when he fought against what's his name, Sugar Sean O'Malley. What's Sugar Sean's coach's name? I said Big Tom Walsh. So for me, even that, like, fighters shouldn't be focusing on what the other coaches are saying. If they're saying negative things or getting into your head, just realize that that's part of any sort of competition. So yeah, my take on that is it's whatever what Firas has said. More importantly, the cheating accusations is actually what's something that we need to talk about a bit more. Let's find out about that. Let us know in the comments. Are fighters allowed to apply extra Vaseline to the our coaches can they apply extra Vaseline to their fighters in between the rounds? If so, then Zalal can't say anything further than that. But if it's not allowed, then there's something to query there.
Fair play, BG. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you have made it this far in the video, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And we'll be back tomorrow with the live stream for 171. And also look for our preview of this weekend's UFC Fight Night, which will also be released later this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful week, and we will see you later on, next time on Fighting with Friends.